Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our deep dive into this radical feminist book about the sexual revolution and fascism and feminism. It's a quite insane book already. We're not even that deep into it yet, but she's exactly what you'd picture. So let's continue. Get your popcorn in and be ready for nonsense. She continues upon her point about sexual liberation. Sexual liberation cannot be achieved while sexual power is unequally distributed. Now, sexual power should be restricted. That is why being modest, being chaste, preserving yourself as long as possible until marriage, that is power, because you are resisting indulging in ludicrous, high-risk behavior. It's interesting how when women start to have, 40 bodies, 50 bodies, and they realize the good men are kind of like, I'll tap it and dip out, that they get this sort of despair. Now, these feminists who rely on plastic toys and very cuckolded men, they can sit there and lecture the dominant men about how they should want a woman like that, but in the end, the less is the better, even though widows and divorcees have a really good chance, right, of getting remarried. But it all depends on their behavior. If you're just meeting guys in bars, you don't even know their last name, they look hot, you go hook up with them, why would a guy trust a woman who is that willing to get pregnant accidentally or get an STD accidentally? Or get hurt because you're going with literal strangers. And if you're being paid, you're gonna walk around with a lot of mental baggage because all the gross things you did that horrify you later because you matured can never go away. No matter how much therapy you get, you're always gonna know you took a price to do something absolutely horrendous. So you should really think about it. You should really examine what is gonna be the best for you. So if you have sexual power kind of bubbling up within you, strangle it. Put a hold on it. Rise above the lust demon. Stop watching porn. Stop masturbating. Don't do those things because it makes you weaker and sicker, and you turn into just like this, like sticky energy, like if somebody dropped a slug on your grilled cheese sandwich. It's like, oh, get out of here. That energy doesn't feel safe. There's just a total different energy about a woman who is strong-willed but hasn't lowered herself to be humped by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Today, in almost every society on earth, straight men still have far more social, political, and economic agency than women, girls, and LG blah 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 people. Okay, so what do you see here? Again, she uses women and girls grouped in with the rainbow mafia, when there are plenty of women and girls who are not part of that, and are perfectly fine with the blessed straight men to have more control. That is literally who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed, right? If you take a look at the Christians, and you take a look even at communist China, where they're atheistic, or stolen rather even, the men who are straight and in their masculinity are gonna rule. The energy that comes from the rainbow mafia is not the same when people who you want in the seat of power. You want someone who can get the job done, who has that grit, that grind, the staunchness that's needed, who can bear the weight of the crown of responsibility of society. It takes a certain type of mindset, and that mindset is more often than not found within a heterosexual male. Girls benefit from not being sexually liberated because when you're 14, you're 13, and you're just letting all these men smash and dash, by the time you're 25 and you've increased your body count to like 60 men, you got a lot of mental trauma, hatred for your father, neglect of your mother, you're wanting to rebel from your small town life, you want to enact some Cardi B mentality. It doesn't work because you won't qualify for the good men. And good mothers don't want bed jumpers to be the mother of their grandchildren. I mean, if you think about kissing, who really wants to kiss somebody who's blowing, sorry for my vulgarity, but who's doing intimate things constantly and has been paid to do so and has a body count of over 80 people? It's pretty gross, man. And the fact of the matter is, the men who are fine with those type of ladies, they don't make good stepfathers. They're pretty dangerous around stepdaughters because of their porn addictions. A pervy hedonist is very unsafe around your daughter. And some women figure this out the hard way, or some of them just plain up are so hedonistic that they would offer up their daughters, their children, to be utilized by their new boyfriend. I don't want to say the name, but there was one porn star who even had interviews with Paul Joseph Watson, who ended up going to jail because she let her boyfriend try to touch her 10-year-old daughter. Right? She tried to get her 10-year-old daughter involved in porn. It was a huge scandal. And this lady made the rounds on the Drunken Peasants, all kinds of shows. And it's scary. So when you get around highly pervy men and pervy women become mothers, the children are extremely unsafe. Because those two worlds, once you get so deep into sin, it's not the healthy environment to raise innocent, pure children who are blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with innocence and virtue. No, it's disgusting. Patriarchy and white supremacy are political systems that give men power over women and white people power over black, brown, and indigenous people. This is not true. Indigenous cultures, on average, are more patriarchal, right? They are. Brown, so Latino, you're gonna sit here and tell me that Mexicans, Guatemalans, Hondurans, and Venezuelans don't have machismo? They don't have patriarchy, especially when they're highly Catholic. Even the pagan Aztecs and the Mayans, the men ruled. So, what about that? And La Raza is a racist Mexican group. The Hebrew Israelites, they are black supremacists. It's just insane. It's so insane. These people are just mad. The patriarchal system is in black culture. You go to the indigenous black people of Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Togo, Chad, Algeria, Morocco, Yemen, Somalia, they are patriarchal. It's like she's trying to convince people that the color of their skin means they should hate patriarchy. It's disgusting. This isn't power that all white people and all men have. It's not power that all of them asked for, but it's power they were raised to expect. No, it isn't. Shut up. What a stupid... Okay, little white boys in the trailer park Their mom may be using food stamps. Their dad's working at the flour mill, the brick yard. Maybe he's working in the dog food factory. They're not telling their children that they should expect white supremacy power. I played with white trash kids, rednecks, Latinos, mostly Latinos. You never heard this racist baloney here. We were not taught power to expect anything. No. We just played. We just were innocent. We had Thanksgiving dinner. We played basketball. We climbed trees. We pushed each other's faces in the snow. No parent was being Adolf and making us, wear Klan hoods. She's delusional. What a hateful person. So much hate in this woman's heart. You can feel it radiating from this book. Who'd want to be married to that? Power that feels painful to lose. No. No. No one wants power because of their skin shade. No one wants to lose power. Because with power comes protection. With power comes the option, right? The option to choose what can be done. More so, you're more free to navigate your life. These people who seem to really just hate Americans in whole and who seek to divide to this degree, they should be exiled. Why? Because they're bringing a faction into the union, which is going to cause strife and violence. This individual has attacked heterosexuals, old white men, is trying to cause a race war, is really sexually deviant. These people are just so far gone that they should go out there and get a taste of what their theories mean in the real world and not in the liberal university classroom. It's structural power, economic power, power that means that on the whole, white people are richer, freer, and more independent than people of color. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed nations to rise and fall. The Red Man, the Cherokee, the Iroquois, the Apache, all of them once roamed across this nation. They are gone mostly now. This is not their land anymore. Then it was the colonists that came, the Dutch, the French, the English, the Scottish, then the Irish, the Italian, and the Jews, then the blacks, then the Mexicans, then the Guatemalans, then the Chinese. Land will be in the possession of one group for a time, and then it'll switch to another. Look how many times Italy had civil war, and look how it is today. That is just how everything has this ebb and flow. Allah allows it to rise, like the people of Thamud. All of it comes and goes. Allah tells us in the Quran, look to basically go around the earth and look at those who came before, to see the ruins. Okay? The Egyptians had the Greek blood due to Ptolemy, who came with Alexander the Great. The Macedonian blood, who also had Greeks and Romans going over there, mixing with the culture. The Egyptians had brown, black, and white people in their empire. They had slaves. Moses came, freed those slaves, the children of Israel. Okay? Each group of every race has had their turn under the sun of power. And it shall be taken, because what goes up must come down. And that is the way it goes. The Peruvians who had Machu Picchu, he's gone. They're gone. That empire, the ruins is all there. You go through the land to see where mighty chiefs once roamed on horseback. Those tribes are gone. They're just gone. It's no more. The empty pyramids of the Mayans, Chichen Itza, is gone. It's all gone. They lost. What are you gonna do? So, this hatred that she's trying to have towards rich white people is really destructive, because it doesn't put accountability on how your parents helped you, and it builds resentment. If you're poor, strive for that bag in a halal way. But know that all your rewards for your good deeds, whether it be a charitable smile, teaching someone tajweed, whatever it is, donating to your food bank, every single thing is going to be accounted for. And Allah's not going to judge you by your skin shade on the day where we all get accounted for. So you need not constantly harp on how a certain demographic in a certain area has more than you. Allah has permitted it, and that is sufficient. You can avoid the evil eye by not hating the wealthy. I am a minimalist, right? I'm not gonna hate somebody because they have money, but rather how they use the money. She says freer. How are black people, indigenous people, brown people not free? There is no laws that say a black person can't do this, a black person can't do that in any penal code that I've seen. If you're gonna tell me one group gets caught speeding, they don't get charged as much, that's corruption. That's not like a law telling how you're gonna be free. And more independent, well, don't live on Section 8 housing. Don't do that then. Don't use drugs, don't have... See, what's funny, she's complaining about independency, not having money, yet she's saying sexual freedom is needed. Sexual freedom is going to cause children to be aborted. Sexual freedom is going to cause for you to have a high body count, which is going to breed mental illness because you're going to eventually want to settle down. And after you've churned and burned so many relationships, you almost forget how to have a healthy one. And the more perverted you get in your relationship, the more mentally scarred you become. And it's a stain that never comes out in your mind. You can repent and you can strive, but the energy is always there trying to come back. It's just insane. So she is mad that others are not as wealthy as some whites in America. Yet she advocates for sexual deviancy, which breaks up the nuclear family, and she even said herself that she's trying to undermine the authority of the institutions of heterosexuality, male supremacy, and the traditional ways of dividing labor and distributing wealth. You don't have a right to take someone's money, tax them so high, and then redistribute it to the one who didn't put in. High taxes does not mean there's going to be more freedom. You're just handing your money over to the corrupt government and hoping they spend it how they're going to spend it. You keeping more of your money through lower taxes and putting it in a charity and spending it how you want is actually freedom. And men are wealthier and more independent than women. If you have a good husband who takes care of you, I am more free. Children are wealth. Family is wealth. The ability to look at the sky and not stare at skyscrapers is wealth. The ability for me to be home cooking is wealth. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? Allah's bounty is limitless. It's everywhere. Wealth is clean air. Wealth is having a plant inside your home. Wealth is every single blessing that you freaking have. See the ingratitude of a radical feminist atheist, sexual deviant, is she's only thinking in terms of fiat currency. She's thinking in terms of women being boss babes, sleeping around, having all types of kinks and fetishes and polyamory. It's bizarre. Because her mind is so fractured from the fitra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's path that she sees a smooth, calm, chaste, moral lifestyle as a prison. And you have to feel pity for a woman like this. And also, who cares if men have more wealth? Because guess what, baby? You can go get married to one of them, and he can share his wealth with you, and you can enjoy the wealth together, and be a nice mother. He's gonna share his money with you as a wife. This same woman says sexual freedom. That dude who's rich, he's gonna spend money to pay you for your services in your sexual liberated society, and then, you got some of his money. Those men who have more wealth pay into the welfare system that you, as a woman, live off of while you're independent on your food stamps in Section 8 housing or in public housing, the projects. The wealthy men pay a high chunk of taxes in the capitalistic society for you to even live with the social programs. It's astounding. This woman is insane. This means that women and queer people, particularly women and queer people of color, still negotiate for sexual and bodily autonomy under the conditions of inequality. What nonsense. Queer people of color. Super niche. Who cares if you're queer? Pay your taxes. Go to work. Who cares about your sexual desires? Go to work. Pay your bills. Help the community. And that's it. Women of color do just fine when they get married as well to a wealthy man. It's weird how she's trying to frame it as if there's no black men who have money. It's bizarre. Utterly bizarre. It's almost like I wish a woman, a classy black woman from Mississippi who's a Baptist, has that grandma energy, could just drop some wisdom, who has like a lot of soul, and say like, no, what you're doing is wrong. You're trying to misguide these southern black girls away from morality and turn them into Nicki Minaj clones. It's just no. How about no? Insane. Let me know what you think. By the way, if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Helps out the channel because I don't do monetization or super chats on YouTube. So that's a way you can help the channel and help me buy diapers. Take care.